5 signs of a highly intelligent person. Precisely evaluating somebody's psychological keenness is an important fundamental ability. There are critical motivations to evaluate an individual's psychological keenness. For instance, in the event that you are taking exhortation, meeting, or imparting, it assists with understanding what you are really going after. A large number of the best chiefs are incredible at perusing their crowd. In the event that you are searching for a one-shot approach to decide brightness, quit understanding at this point. On the off chance that you are searching for exemptions for the accompanying focuses, you'll have the option to discover them. Coming up next are correlative, not causal. This is an activity in subtlety. Since inside subtlety, you find most replies. They practice intellectual humility. I worked in account and generally loathed it. Notwithstanding, one of only a handful few advantages was individuals. The business pulls in and needs keen individuals. Thus, recruiting effective competitors commanded we get a brisk perused on them. Meeting is interesting in light of the fact that everybody is doing their absolute best and attempting to sound brilliant, as maybe they ought to. A director showed us a stunt, pose an inquiry the applicant will not have a clue about the response to. At that point, see how they act. An awesome sign was the point at which they could just concede they didn't have the foggiest idea, instead of phony it and forcibly feed an answer. This confirmation is an indication of scholarly quietude, which is associated to better dynamic. This is especially helpful in an industry tormented by egotism. Mentally unassuming individuals challenge their decisions dependent on proof and criticism from others. As an oversimplified model, you'll see this when individuals say, "From what I've seen, it very well may be valid," rather than, "It's unquestionably obvious." They outline their perceptions as open to evaluate. They prize truth over conscience. Clear signs are often a valid data point. For instance, individuals who decline to social distance will in general be less clever. Individuals who read in their spare energy slant more astute than the individuals who don't. Things that shrewd individuals will in general do, will in general be finished by more brilliant individuals. Numerous years prior, I was working retail at a pre-owned athletic gear store. A 10-year-old child came in to purchase a baseball cap. I gave him the cost. He held the protective cap up, looked it over, at that point glanced back at me. "Would you be able to thump a couple of expels? That is to say, take a gander at these imprints." He pointed at the gouges. I grinned and gave him a rebate. At the point when he left, I thought, that child will do fine and dandy. Being tricky, showing road smarts, and speedy reasoning is associated to knowledge. Truth be told, Yale researchers found that road smarts are similarly as significant for representatives as their scholastic smarts. All the more evidently, you can be a fair understudy, with incredible road smarts, and proceed to be extremely fruitful. They are meta, literally. There is a recently well-known expression, that is so meta. Meta implies something is self-referential. A computer game where you play a character playing a computer game is meta. The Onion broadly did this with Universe of World of Warcraft. Identified with this, insightful individuals frequently exhibit metacognition. They talk about and break down their own manner of thinking. They are even-handed and evaluate their temperament. They know when and how they perform best. A straightforward illustration of meta-conduct is the point at which somebody says, "I need to put this on my schedule or I will not consider myself responsible." Unsurprisingly, individuals with high metacognition are frequently incredible understudies and representatives. They influence their mindfulness for their potential benefit. They know what killed the cat. Clever individuals will in general be interested. They have a tingle to know more, to bore down on subtleties, only for knowing. All things considered, that is how we learn, correct? Interest is a pointer of knowledge in different creatures as well. For instance, there was an investigation including 3 language-prepared chimps. Their work was to utilize a console to name what food was in an inaccessible compartment. The prize was, "You gotten it, food." At the point when the test food was obvious, they just hit the right catch and got the food. At the point when the food was covered up among different compartments, the more intelligent chimps assessed and attempted to look inside the holders prior to furnishing their responses. They knew the chances of winning were higher on the off chance that they found out additional. This chimp study is an essential model, however, uncovers the force of data chasing interest. Also, remember, we share 98.8% of our DNA with chimps. The sharpest chimps are estimated by their capacity to persistently learn and investigate issues. Sound recognizable? The strongest indicator of intelligence. That flatmate actually improved evaluations than my father, who was genuinely brilliant, and it ticked him off continually. That flatmate proceeded to turn into a school educator. At the beating center of knowledge is the capacity to work on complex issues and settle them, as Charlie did. Regularly, that expertise is hereditary. Individuals themselves don't have the foggiest idea how they do it. You can build up the ability also. A physical science educator once disclosed to me that a major issue is only a lot of little issues joined. Figure out how to isolate them out. It's every one of the a matter of approach. End and takeaway. Society has set a monstrous need on knowledge. We frequently feel strained to be savvy and worth the individuals who are. Always remember the estimation of consideration and regard. Every individual has their own mix of abilities and blessings and ought to be regarded accordingly. Keep in mind, outside of a therapist gave test, there's no genuine method to get measure insight in one information point. In any case, on the off chance that they do these 5 things, there is a generally excellent possibility they are very shrewd. They exhibit an oddity to learn more data. They can straightforwardly concede when they don't know something. They know and work inside their cutoff points. They can separate complex issues and slice directly to an answer. They have an intense attention to their own point of view. They investigate and get it. They utilize that information for their potential benefit. They show evident indications of insight. They think rapidly on their feet and have situational mindfulness. They wear a veil during a pandemic.